truth is out there, and it begins with you. Welcome to the Cosmic Fold, where we talk high strangeness. Call us at 928-288-2942. That's 928-288-2942. Or join us by video. If you're at a computer, just look for the link in the chat. Buckle up, sit around our virtual campfire, and let's get started.
As we'll see throughout tonight's Cosmic Fold, religion and spirituality are not the same thing, even though they often overlap in real life. Spirituality is about meaning, experience, conscience, and inquiry. It's inward-facing. It asks questions. It changes as people change. Religion, on the other hand, is what happens when shared spiritual ideas are organized into institutions, with doctrines, leaders, rules, and social power. That structure isn't automatically bad. In many cases, it's how communities survive, pass down values, and make sense of the world together. The danger begins when religion stops being about meaning and starts being about control, when belief turns into obedience, when authority replaces conscience, when questioning is treated as disloyalty. At that point, what you're looking at isn't spiritual growth, it's authoritarianism wearing sacred language. And the unsettling part is that this kind of shift rarely begins with anything that sounds extreme. It often starts with language that feels comforting, patriotic, or harmless. Phrases like, "one nation under God," words that seem symbolic, optional, or purely cultural. But symbols have a way of hardening into policies. Cultural language can quietly turn into legal expectations. Over time, those ideas begin to show up in state laws, federal policies, court decisions, often without most people noticing until the groundwork is already laid. Tonight isn't about attacking faith or dismissing spirituality. It's about understanding the difference between personal meaning and institutional power, and recognizing how easily the two can be confused, especially when religion moves from the private sphere into governance. Tonight, we'll explore the differences between religion and spirituality. Welcome to the Fold.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Hey, kind of some heavy subject matter there, but one I think is worth discussing.
We really have to discuss that. It's something that people are confused about a lot. In fact, I don't know if you've ever watched Bill Maher. I mean, I don't watch him at this point, but he's an atheist, right? I think that's whatever, that's fine. But he doesn't seem to understand the difference between religion and spirituality. He seems to think they're the same thing. And this is a mistake a lot of people make. They throw the baby out with the bathwater, basically. And I understand why.
Exactly.
Because religion is about control. I mean, that when you get to an organized state where you have people on top and people on the bottom, and you have a hierarchical system, hey Joy,
Yeah,
then it
thanks for
becomes
joining
about
us.
control and power. It's no longer about your own inner meaning and connection to source. It becomes about obedience, it becomes about control and power over other people. And that is not the same thing as your natural spiritual connection to the, to the universe. They're very different things. So I think that's something that a lot of people have a hard time understanding, that, you grow up in a religion, you think that's what spirituality, that's all it is. But that is not what it's about at all, in my opinion. That's just putting a
It's
cash register and a control system between you and source to try to take your power and your money and squeeze the life out of you. That's what I think it's about.
We know that Deborah had quite the
Yes.
experience growing
Yes.
up, right?
You sure did.
And I just want to put a caveat out there before we start, so I don't spend the whole night apologizing. I escaped from an extremely oppressive Irish Catholic form of Catholicism that was very
Hey,
oppressive.
Tiffany.
And I have a lot of resentment about the institutions, the patriarchal, theocratic
Yeah.
institutions. So I never say anything good about organized religions. No offense.
I put
Yeah, I
together
know.
a PowerPoint with like 10 things, and I tried to be moderate about it because for a while there, I just hated organized
Yes.
religion. But there are its good points too.
There
in
are,
fairness.
sure. Yes, there are.
Hey, I've
yeah.
had priests on my channel.
I mean,
Yeah.
yes, and I have some clergy people that actually come to me for readings. They're
Oh,
yeah. Yeah,
My,
that's gonna
fir-
be it.
my very first astrology reading was from a Catholic bishop.
Wow,
oh.
that's interesting. Wow.
He was very interesting. He's probably passed now, but he was in Dallas, and he was really good, Bishop John Rankin. And
Wow.
anyway, he kind of had this underground like astrology practice, and then Dallas was all about money. When I lived there, it probably still is. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
But he got talked into going to one of these big light churches that was all about, money and, what is that, the prosperity gospel and all that. He couldn't
Oh,
stand
Yeah.
it.
yeah.
And so he basically left all of organized religion, but sort of kept religious. And he
Right.
moved to a little station, little Catholic thing out on an Indian reservation near Oklahoma. And from his basement just did astrology readings, and that's
Wow.
how he ended his life, basically, was
Wow.
just doing that. So
Wow.
I think that in a lot of religion there is like sacred knowledge and stuff
Sure.
like that,
Yeah,
but they're
yeah.
trying to control it.
Right.
As
We have to separate the individual from the institution.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well,
And
it's yeah.
go
Go
ahead.
Yeah, that's like you said, all religions start with the seed, or whoever the person, like if you look at the Buddhist, right? The Buddha, it's more of a practice. They don't have an organized sort of systematic control system with Buddhism, which is why it's not considered a religion.
Right.
But that just tells you right there, that religion
What
implies
defines a
control
religion?
system,
Yeah.
right? So you've got the Buddha, you've got Muhammad, you've got Jesus. They all came with these messages to try to teach people about source and how to connect with source. And the Buddhists were better about it. They kind of, some sects are a little bit more controlling than others, but
Yep.
they were pretty good about keeping that message as how to connect rather than about how to control. But, you have Muhammad, the Jews had Abraham and whatever, and Jesus and Moses and all these different characters. And then that becomes sort of indoctrinated and is a way to control the people. Now, Jesus, that guy, the game theory dude, who turned me on to, is basically came to the same conclusions that I did, but from a different perspective.
Yep.
That, Jesus, he was a preacher, and he came to teach people about source and how to connect. You were not blessed after growing up in religion. But in the majority of the Catholic community, I was told I was going to hell because I was not baptized. Yeah. And faith as an adult has what told me. That's cool.
Well, you don't want to
That's
end up
good.
in limbo with all the dead
Yeah,
babies.
right. Purgatory.
Why would babies be in limbo? That's so ridiculous. That's terrible.
Yeah, because they're innocent, and if a child dies before it's baptized, it goes to limbo, where it doesn't suffer for eternity. It's pleasant, but you're not in the presence of God.
Well, that does not seem right to me. That's
Well, I didn't invent it, Denise.
I know. That's
Poor
not right.
Tiffany, my gosh, growing up, kids would tell her she's going to hell all the time. That's awful.
Oh, man.
I told you feel sorry for our Protestant friends. Because
That's insane.
I feel so sorry for you guys.
That's crazy. Wow.
Oh.
It's insane.
All right, well, back to what you were saying, Denise, about the game theory guy and your thoughts
Yeah.
about Jesus.
Well, yeah, I think Jesus clearly was pretty clear in everything he said. He was talking about connecting to source. Heaven is within. Money's the root of evil. You've got to, help your neighbor, love your neighbor as yourself. I mean, he's teaching all of these lessons, right, that are very clear. And then Saul, comes along and just contorts everything into this thing that has nothing to do with anything Jesus said, marries the Roman kind of culture with this, his Jewish
Yeah.
origins, whatever, and makes this complete monster out of this thing. It's all about control, and it's really about imperialism, really. It's a form of new imperialism.
Yeah, they absorbed the symbols and the beliefs of the
Yes,
culture that came before,
that's
and
right.
they just retitle it.
Yeah.
Humble brag. I was in Rome, not in a former life either. I was in Rome in this lifetime, and I went into the.
You might have been there in a
Pantheon.
past life too. You never know.
I'm sure of that. I went into the Pantheon, which is a circular pagan temple that's been turned into a church, Catholic church.
Right.
And it's cool, the architecture and everything. And I was looking around, and I saw it all along the side of this circular wall. The perimeter were little niches with life-size statues. And I thought, oh, that's really cool. I like to look at statues, and I'm thinking I'm looking at the saints and stuff, right? So I went over to the one that looked like Madonna and Child. It was Venus and Eros.
Right.
Very good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's all of it is borrowed from the pagan culture. Even the body and the blood thing, that's the Dionysian mysteries is what he pointed out. But Osiris and the dying god who gets put back together and is reborn,
Well, that's repeated hundreds and hundreds of times.
in every culture.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just like a symbol that's really ancient. And
so many of them are all born on December 25th.
that's right, because that's what's old.
and it's just
Yeah.
like it just goes
Yeah.
on and on. Easter is
Yes.
like in all these, so there's nothing
Yeah.
all that original about it. That's the thing.
No. No.
You want to know what my favorite book of Paul's in the New Testament was? My favorite
What?
story.
No.
we
Yeah, I do want to hear it. Yeah,
Yes,
let's hear it.
because it's
wouldn't know
another
it
of these
anyway.
that didn't make sense to me, like Genesis. So,
I
so
wanna hear
anyway, he's given this sermon, right? And all these people have to be there. It was in Acts. And there's this one guy, he's sitting up like on the third balcony up or whatever, listening to this, and it was so boring. They were like into the second or third hour of the sermon, and he just like nods off, falls asleep, and falls off the thing and dies. This is the other resurrection story in there that Paul goes and brings him to life. I'll have to send you the chapter.
Oh my
But
God.
I just loved it because of this church that we were in. We had to sit through these sermons that would go on and on for like hours. And all of us teenagers had to sit up front, and write notes. And so this guy, Mark, he and I would just and that was like, so we're like reading this. I'm like, you got to read this one. And so it's like my favorite one. But yeah, but there's good things from religion. As far as
there are.
preservation, the arts that have come from it.
Oh, yeah.
I would say law has come from it.
right.
There's a lot, societal things. So I brought up, but one thing I was going to mention, just throw this out, what you guys think, in the opening video, you saw that data sheet I had, right? So I've been collecting all of these
Yes.
laws that are taking
Right.
place throughout the country on a federal and state level that are in line with what I was talking about 20 years ago, knowing that this was coming.
Like the Comstock laws, the blue laws.
Oh yeah, but this is like really deep, like Project 2025 stuff. And I've got
Yeah.
a sheet that
Yeah.
I'll bring up, when we're done with. I did a PowerPoint because I can never remember anything. I can't read my writing. But
Right.
anyway, I'm thinking of taking all of this data because I've tracked it since 1975, since
Wow.
when the Seven Mountains kind of stuff came to pass.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
tracking these laws, and you can see how it like takes a while from 75, and then it jumps sort of like into 1993 was sort of when it started like getting hold. They were probably getting funded by then. And
Probably.
then it sort of
Post-Reagan.
grows, but it's not. But if I were to do a chart of this, by the time we got into the 2020s, it just skyrockets right up. And this stuff is just, blossoming
Proliferating everywhere.
everywhere,
Right.
covering many, many aspects of things. And so that was one of, and I'm thinking about turning that, because I've got the domain and everything, into like a chatbot thing where you could type by topic and then see all the laws and where they are, and turn it into like a whole,
That's interesting.
Do
because
you
I
know,
was,
do you
like a
know
narrative?
Andra Watkins?
pardon?
No.
Do you know Andra Watkins?
Andrea?
I know,
No,
Andrew.
Andra Watkins.
Andrea
She-
Watkins.
She has
The
a
name is
Substack.
familiar.
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
No,
her
I
either.
had her on my channel. She wrote a book. She has a Substack called Such a Time as These. I think that's right. She is
Yeah.
a former person like you, is living in Spain. And she keeps track on a daily
I watch her
basis.
sometimes. Yeah.
You might connect with her because I bet you she's got a flow sheet.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
And to put
Yeah.
all this data in there in a way, because this is part of what happens. It starts out very simply. That was the premise of my thing in the movie. It starts out very simply. When we said one nation under God, added that under Dwight Eisenhower.
Right. That
And
wasn't there.
that was all part of, trying to, because of the Cold War, trying to create a national identity as opposed to the wickety communism.
Right.
And so it starts something, didn't Franklin Graham have something to do with getting that through too? So, but anyway, it just starts moving more and more, and it starts very simple.
Right.
And it's sort of like the
Innocuously.
proverbial, yes,
Right.
the proverbial frog in the boiling water
Yes.
thing.
Sure.
Even though we know that doesn't happen, it's still a good metaphor. And
Right.
it's just like, that's what's happening as I'm watching this stuff. Because I remember when I was doing a show 20 years ago about this, some people thought I was tinfoil hat.
They did. Yeah. People thought I was nuts too.
Me too.
And, but you could see like little things starting here and there. And I think part of the problem with that is this confusion over spirituality and
Yes.
religion. Because
Definitely.
my friend Gary down in Sedona and I went to one of these Seven Mountains things. Because
Oh,
he was the
God.
only one that was brave enough to go with me. Because here I was writing about it and reporting about it. But it's kind of like, it's one thing to take other people's work, but I've got to see this for myself.
Yes. Sure. For sure.
And experience this and see what is going on.
What was that
And
like?
so
yeah. I want to hear about it.
it
What
was
it?
very interesting because, first of all, when we went in there, there used to be this New Age guru named Gabriel of Sedona.
Okay.
And it was like a cult thing. You could find his stuff there. He said, "What, that channel looks like Mickey Mouse, real weird." And it's just like, and so all these people were like giving all their possessions to him, and he had this really cool place, and so it was really cool. But
I'm sure
anyway,
he
they're
did.
like basically Sedona chased him out eventually, so he went somewhere else.
It's
So
like a
one of
Monty
these,
Python skit.
yeah, it is. And so anyway, but then this Christian dominionist thing, which isn't the same as the Fundy thing. It's the dominionist stuff has the
Right.
Seven Mountains that they want to take over. They bought it. And they
Wait,
have
Southern
this thing.
Mountains that they want to take over. What is explain?
Culture, education, law, government.
Yeah, that's what
They
those
want to take
mountains
over all
were in
the
the
different,
beginning. Yes, all of
right,
those spheres of
different
influence,
aspects
as
of
they call
life.
them.
Yeah.
Right. And that started in 1975 with Bill Bright, somebody named Cunningham. I can never remember his first
Neptune and
name.
Sag. Yeah.
And so, okay. So anyway, so I talked Gary into going because other people were like, "Oh, that's crazy." And then my friend Chris, who has passed, a really, really dear friend of mine, she's like, "I know I can't handle the energy." So she was like, "Oh," but Gary's like, "Okay, we'll go." And I don't know if you guys have ever been in a gay bar, but they're like
Yeah.
all black inside, and the guys swing these like flags as they dance, and and it's really, really loud. It was like that in there. So you
Right.
get in, and it was like all black, and they had like this really loud rock Christian music going on,
Christian rock. Yeah.
and huge, like, I mean, the place was just shaking. It was so loud. And there were
Wow.
all these men up there with these flags, the Christian flag, dancing in rainbow colors, and it was just
Did
like
they have the
Gary and
girls
I,
with the ribbons? Doing
men
the
were
ribbon
doing
things?
that.
Men
Men were doing that. It was very weird. And so Gary's like, well, this is like a party, And it was like, because it's Sedona, it was sort of new agey, so it smelled like patchouli in there, and it was just kind of like, whatever.
I'm very
And
confused. Yeah.
it was very confusing. So then finally, after they get everyone pumped up, and this is like 2 hours of this, then it was like worship service. And so Gary and I are like, we have to pretend we're Christian. And then this one lady kept looking at me, and I was really nervous about it because I thought she may have recognized me from my
Right.
website because I was reporting on their activities and very critical of it. And I thought
Right.
she
Right.
recognized me. But anyway, they go into the worship service, and Lance Wallnau, of all people, was there. He's like the biggie that you see him on the Trump stuff all the time. So his wife is Asian, and she's a psychologist. And she was as funny as could be. And they were talking about all this stuff. It was actually quite enjoyable and interesting. And then we were led to do like this more Christian. So Gary and I are like, acting like we're one of them and doing the clapping and praising Jesus and all that.
Right.
And then Lance goes up there and he goes, well, after lunch, I will be back. So everybody take a quick break and then we'll be back. And so it quiets down. And then this whole gaggle of ladies came up to me, and I thought, oh my God, they recognize me. They're going to throw me out. But they didn't. They said,
Right.
when you clap, the demons run out. And they were like, you're making all the demons from this new age leave. And they were just like really nice to me. And so it was like, okay. And so I went along with it. And I said, yeah,
Well, it
Gary
tells you how
does it
intuitive
too.
they are. Yeah.
So
mean-
Gary and I, and we are just like dizzy and so just jacked
Yeah.
up from all of this energy. And I mean, it was just
Right.
insane. So,
Right.
so I mean,
Sounds
I
very
couldn't even
culty.
drive. It was so, I couldn't
Yeah.
drive. I was just like so out of focus, and neither could Gary. Neither one of us
Wow.
could drive. So we just hung out in the parking lot for a while and then went back in, and Lance Wallnau was supposed to speak. And his wife gets up and says, oh, he got real sick and he can't be here. And Gary and I laughed about that because we went home and he's like, Deborah, you chased the demons out. He's gone.
Yeah, right. Exactly. That's hilarious.
But just from that, we were so hyped out. Just
Right.
Well, that's how they
completely.
brainwash people.
Well, yeah. And so between the two of us, I think we both drank like a 12-pack each that night. Just trying, because we couldn't sleep. We were just like so
Wow.
hyped out from it.
12
And
pack
so
of
then
what?
we went to a beer.
Probably.
And
Beer.
then, yeah.
Oh,
And that it didn't even faze us because we were just hyper. And so then we went the next day, and then they had these other things, and they were talking about their plans about the 7 mountains and all the things that they were going to do. And Lance was there at that one, and it was creepy. It was, it was still the same hyped out kind of stuff, but I was there looking at the audience, and yep, you were exactly right, HBH. Sedona is big energy, sometimes just big and not always good. Totally agree. I
Yeah,
think they
that's
picked
true.
that
That is
area
a
for a
weird
reason.
Yeah, no, for
And
sure.
so,
There's something there.
so it was shocking, to see that all of these things that I had read about were correct. But they didn't put it in the context of exactly what it was like in these things, to inspire people to give their money and all that. There was like one
Right. They
scene
work you
where
up.
I think it was the second day, they were calling us the Rams or something of, no, we were the Lions of Jesus. That's what it was. So
Wow.
they had these rams. They were all up there and like,
Ooh.
yep, with those.
Right.
And then they would do that, and then we
The
would all
shofars
have,
and the Jewish horns.
and then we had to roar.
Wow.
I don't know
And then
how
roaring.
you did that.
I don't
And,
either.
and it was like almost an hour of that makes you almost like translate,
Yeah,
because
right.
if you're
I know what you're doing.
empathetic at all, you take in that energy.
Oh, you're
And
hyperventilating.
It
Well,
was
it's interesting that there's a
very
psychologist
odd.
who's married to one of the dudes. I mean, all of
Yes.
that are all brainwashing techniques, is what that is. Yeah, it's all
Exactly.
brainwashing
And so we
Yeah.
were well aware that, once we got out of there, but it was just kind of like, and that's how these things start. And people think, well, this is being spiritual because I feel real high, because
Right,
I'm
right.
participating in this. Kind of like a sports event or anything like that.
Right.
Just this sense of feeling high, they think it's spiritual.
Right.
And I think that's a big hook, but I've always wondered where they get their money to do all this stuff.
Oh,
I mean,
People give it to them.
but,
People
but the
get
people that were there didn't seem all that wealthy or whatever to me. They just seemed like regular Sedona people that you would think were New Agers. If you just met them.
Well,
in the
the
store or
thing about the
something.
new age is it's really just a repackaging of that same stuff.
It is.
It is
It
all
is.
it is. Yeah. It's really no different.
so have you heard what's happening now? this is
Which
just
one
something-
thing? There's a lot of things.
I
Yeah.
know.
Pick one.
My husband comes downstairs every morning, and one or the other of us says, "So have you heard the news?"
Right.
And it's off to the races. So
Right.
no, this whole dominionist mold. Okay, the Heritage Foundation came out with Saving the American Family, and they have bullet points of things they want to do, like only heterosexual married sex, no contraception for anybody,
Wow.
because they want to encourage
The
birth.
Handmaid's Tale.
It's the Handmaid's Tale. But the
Like-
part of it that really upset me more than anything, because I'm way past my prime, so that, I feel badly about it and I will advocate against it, but it doesn't affect me personally. This affected me
Right.
personally. They're going to, and they do it gently. Like Deborah said, they ease into it. So they want everybody to have closer families and do things together as families. So they're going to make Sunday a day of rest, the Lord's Day. And then the next step, what's the next step? Mandatory church,
Yep.
Right.
right? I mean, obviously, right? And when that happens, I don't know. I'm going to have to maybe OD on C's candy, because there's no way I'm getting up early on Sunday to go to church.
Or
ever
practice your
again.
pyrokinesis.
Practice what?
Your pyrokinesis.
Oh,
But we had a state senator here, maybe like 10 years ago. She was suggesting that, and people were just raising hell. The thing about Arizona, it's more like libertarian, I think. Well, I don't know. What do you think,
Yeah.
Bove? It's not exactly left, and it's not exactly right.
We're
It's
a
just
good
more.
mix.
Yeah, it's very
this
mixed.
State is a pretty damn good mix.
But
And
this
it's
is where
pretty clear who stands where, by who's got a gun on their hip, and
Right.
so I live in a blue state theoretically. I'm in the Pacific Northwest. There are 8 churches within my eyesight right now.
Yeah,
Oh
but
my
also you live in if you're in the Pacific Northwest, wherever you are, if you're in a city, it's very blue. If you're not in a city, it's very red. And
Yeah.
that's how it is everywhere. I mean, even like I'm from Chicago originally. Chicago's extremely blue, always has been. You go out into the country, like the further you get out of the city of Chicago, the more rural and red it gets. And that's why places like that are rural states are really red, I think. There's something about, I guess, the xenophobia that maybe comes with being rural or something like that, or the
Well,
type of
there's
person.
nothing to do. And the churches have caught on to the fact that if they offer a lot of extracurriculars throughout the week, people will come, and there's money in that.
Maybe
I'm
that's it.
jaded. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, it could be that. I think also like people who are, agriculturally based people tend to be people that like to be they're kind of like to insulate themselves a little bit more. They are kind of not, that's what I've heard people theorize about that. They're kind of less social. They're a little bit more untrusting of, outsiders and stuff like that. And that kind of fear based sort of thing is definitely leans towards the right. That's sort of the studies that have been done with people that are on the right, it's all fear-based kind of mentality and people on the left tend to be not fear-based,
Well, the churches around here are like the poor man's country club, It's where everybody goes for a meal, for parties, for personal family gatherings. There's a place. They have classes and lessons and age group related, young girls, young boys, this, that, and the other age groups. And they have their own bowling leagues. And it's
right. It's a very social thing too. Yeah. That's why a lot of people go to churches too, is to have social.
It's the social part.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll bring up. Bove had sent something. I didn't have time to turn it. What was your view on things, Bove?
Oh man, let me try to do this. I was floating around on Facebook and I saw. Oh, I saved it. Okay. It says, what is it? OMEISM. Omism.
Omism, yeah.
Yeah, and then it said what the OMEISM. Come on, you sucker. No,
But basically, it was an amalgamation of everything and nothing. So I'll take a little bit here, a little bit there. I'll reject this. Just
is this a religion?
Being at one with all of
it.
No,
I'm still. I'm right on it.
Like a worldview, kind of. And my big fear is that Opus Dei is going to win this battle of the churches.
Oh
and we're all
my
going to
God,
be wearing
no, Helen.
hair shirts and living in single gender dorms,
Oh,
Come
no,
live here,
Helen.
same difference. Well, while
There
you think
it
of that,
I got
go
it.
ahead.
Oh, you got it.
It's OMNIEST.
Okay.
A person who does not claim any one religion, practice, or belief, but finds truth in them all.
Oh, like an omnist.
Yeah, like omnivore maybe. Like a
omnivore.
Ominist. Yeah, that makes sense.
My beliefs change all the time.
I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
They should. As you become more mature, you grow, they should change. It's kind of weird that people don't change, I think, in that way.
Well, exactly. All right, so I just tried to identify 10 meaningful things. HBH says all things have one root.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first point was belonging versus seeking, because seeking is a very solitary path, and so religion does. It gives you that sense of community, and that's a huge thing. When people leave a religion, that's usually what they miss the most is community.
Yeah.
And spirituality is more of an inner journey. And I think this is the problem, some psychologists say, well, that could be a weakness if all you're doing is seeking and you never commit to anything. I'm not sure that I agree with that, but
I don't think that at all. No. But you stop growing if you stop seeking. If you stop questioning.
And I think that where you said, Denise, that the New Age in some ways is like religion, just packaged different package of it. I think a lot of people start seeking, and sometimes when you're seeking, it's scary because you have to look at your dark side. You have to look at things that you're very uncomfortable with. And so people gravitate towards looking for leaders. I mean, there was a long time ago when I used to do readings, and I don't anymore because of this. Where,
Right.
I mean, I just had people almost start trying to worship me
Yeah,
and
that
not
happens.
make up their, and not make their
I don't
own
let them.
minds and find their
Yeah.
own counsel, but just
Right.
wanted somebody else to do it. And
Right.
I think
There's
that's what
ways around
religion
that.
kind of,
There's ways around that. I've learned how to negotiate that as I've gotten older, like so that people can't
yeah,
do that. But that is the tendency. And also, I think it's not just that people are spirituality, and it's like you said, is a solitary thing where there's no. You have to be comfortable in the sort of void space where you
yes,
don't really, you don't know everything.
Uncertainty. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah,
uncertainty, and you
Uncertainty.
have to be open. And for most people, they cannot deal with that. It's like they have to. I have to know exactly what the next thing is. I got to do it. Blah, blah. It's like they can't be okay in that space. And I think then people come and organize that for them, and then they go, "Oh, that's great. I'm going to just follow that." And that's where you
yep,
go off your path. You
Well,
know
that's
what I
a
mean?
product of
yeah,
authoritarianism where
That's
you
right.
are nurtured to not trust in your own judgment
Yeah,
and not have
yeah,
an inner compass, and you need to be told by somebody external what's right and what's
that's
wrong.
right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah,
yeah. So,
that's right.
okay, so that was point number one, and I could see good in both of those things, and the shared language, symbols. I mean, we owe a lot to religion, I think,
Everybody
for,
wants to. Yeah, everybody wants to belong too, and that that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
So it's not all like bad, but
Not
then,
all of it. No.
and here's the thing, we're just kind of talking about, authority structures versus personal authority, and religion. Duh, it says, well,
Yeah.
this is right, this is sacred, this is true, this is not.
Right.
Spirituality, your own personal experience is the authority.
Hmm.
That's right.
And so, and sometimes if we have problems or just don't see clearly, I mean, I can think I'm right about something and be completely wrong. So it might take somebody who respects authority, whatever, to tell me, no, you're way off base, Deborah. So, both of these things I think need to work together.
Well,
You don't
they
have,
can be balanced, right? I
yeah,
mean, I think there are, I think, ways of kind of. I think if you have so I think religion, the word is almost dirty in my opinion. But if
it
you take,
is. Even the
it's
word
like
God has become dirty.
dirty. Yeah, it's dirty. But if you say take a spiritual path, and you have people who are on the path with you, and who you have some people who have certain experiences that can guide you in, but they don't tell you what to do. It's a non-hierarchical kind of way.
Yep.
That is the best kind of spiritual path you can be on, having other people where you can share things with, but you don't assert like I'm better than this person or that person. Everybody has their own kind of thing, and you kind of come together. And I think we kind of created that in the psychic class a little bit. Don't you think so?
Yeah. I have an interesting little tidbit. You know
Okay.
how words often originally meant something different when they were first derived from Latin
Sure.
and Greek, and now,
Yeah.
of course, they're all distorted. So religion means, what you believe when you go to a church and all that, right? The real word religion comes from the Latin that means to bind or to tie up.
Oh, wow. Well, that
Okay.
is actually very accurate to that,
Yeah.
what it
It
is.
is.
Reliquary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I
But
love that.
and you're right about that, Denise. And I think that when you're on a true like spiritual path or whatever, the right people show up in your life at the right time or
That's
the right
correct.
circumstance.
agree.
I mean, I'm a
Right.
big believer in that. And
Yes.
so you
Like,
don't have to go to a certain building to find that.
no, no.
It's going to just come to you.
Yeah, I agree. Yes,
How I
totally
look
agree.
at it.
I agree with that.
Because a lot
100%.
of these like rules and regulations, like in that cult I grew up in, they were
Mm.
like really into the Levitical law about what you're allowed to eat
Mm.
and all of that. Now, at that time, it was a good thing because it kept the people healthy, those dietary laws. It wasn't
Sure.
meant to be, it wasn't meant to be like done literally now. But because it was in this book, they viewed it as this authority, and you're basically
Right.
going to burn in the lake of fire if you eat a chunk of pork.
Right.
And so, I mean, and they took all of that stuff extremely literally.
Literally, yeah. Sure.
And
Did you ever read the book The Year of Living Biblically?
No.
No.
I didn't read it, but I watched his thing, yes.
Oh my God. He's done several of them, and he just takes the Bible, the Old Testament, literally, and follows all its
Well, then you'd have to
rules.
stone people
Yeah.
to death and
Yes,
stuff.
and he did. He said when he met people that were, because he was dressed in a robe with, he didn't cut his beard. I mean, it was hysterical. But
And you
if he
couldn't
met
round
somebody
your
who-
beard or whatever. There was like
Yeah.
a rounding of the beard. Yeah.
if he knew somebody was an adulterer, let's say, and he met them in a social situation, he would just kind of try to carefully kick gravel in their direction.
That's not really. That's
I know
not
your
really.
secret. I know your
Yeah.
secret.
You could have thrown Nerf rocks at them or something like that.
So
Yeah.
A
Well,
lot of truth. And that's the extreme of this stuff where people just because it's in the Bible.
yeah, they
Who
take
knows
it.
who interpreted it or where it came from? So
Or you even wrote it, or
Exactly.
Yeah.
or why.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly, and to take this like it's so literal, and you have to like.
Yeah.
Didn't Genesis say that birds had 4 legs? There was like one
Just
thing in there. Yes, and
that.
so it's like
That's
well, they were
hilarious.
probably
You can't-
talking about UFOs, but
They probably were.
my
Yeah.
question is, why do you need that kind of doctrine or book or scripture? Why do you need that? Can't you?
The
No, because
masses.
I have a theory about that.
I
my
do
theory?
too.
My theory is that they're born without the moral compass. Some people, they don't have the interior moral compass. Some people have it and some people don't. People who are maybe have personality disorders or who are psychopaths or sociopaths, they don't have that
They don't have
empathy. And so for them, and really a lot of the people that are high up in a lot of those organizations are kind of narcissistic and sociopathic. And I think they gravitate towards those things because they give them rules of behavior that are socially acceptable.
Yeah.
That's my theory.
Maybe.
Yep.
Tiffany, I've heard of this, and I just thought you should know that the Duggars also do church at home every Sunday. That
So
whole
for
God
those who are listening and aren't watching the video, what Tiff says is, the Amish believe God is within. They have church at home. My neighbors do church every other Sunday, and they rotate who is hosting church that week.
Well, I
What
think
did
that's
the
true.
Essenes kind of do that? Like the time of Jesus and all that. It was like a
The
community
Gnostics,
that.
yeah, a lot of the early
Gnostics, that's
Christians
what
did
it
that. A
was.
lot of the early Christians did that. Yeah, a lot of the
Yeah.
early Christians did that. Mhm.
they
yeah.
didn't. They all lived together, and they didn't go
Yep.
anywhere to go to church. It was just there, It was
Oh,
there.
yeah. And also, the early churches in Rome were mostly women who brought the teachings and did the churches and gatherings in their homes, teaching,
Tiffany says, "Stop, Helen, stop."
Right on, Tiffany.
The Duggars
The Duggars are Mennonite?
my moral.
I guess so. That's interesting. I had to say, there is some. I saw a Netflix documentary about. I don't know. I think it might have been the Mennonites, but just the insane how patriarchal and how much child abuse and sexual abuse with women. It was staggering, and incest and all kinds of really dark shit. But anyway, what were you going to say about your theory, Bove? What was your theory about that?
Actually, mine was pretty similar to yours. I see it overall. It was used to control the masses. There were groups of people who needed community, so it helped bring people into the unity of a community. But then once they were in, they suffered those walls that were created to restrict everything they did and said, and that's pretty much the gist of it.
Right. Control
Yeah.
system. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so then point number 3: shared doctrine versus evolving interpretation. So religion tends to be, it's the codified doctrine, just like our laws right now too. Some of them don't make any sense. And,
Right.
and so it basically codifying what morality is. That way we've got a rule book. And spirituality is kind of like, well, that doesn't work anymore.
Right.
It's more, I don't know. Let's see, and it can sometimes be vague, but I don't see that there's an issue with vagueness myself. But
Well, look
Right.
how much more interesting a conversation about spirituality is. That's what we're doing right now.
Yeah.
How would you like to sit around and discuss? Well, let's discuss honor thy father and thy mother.
Yeah. No.
I went
No.
through years of that as a kid. We'd
That's
listen
what
to
I
that
said.
stuff ad nauseum, and it was just like, oh
Yeah.
my God.
Yeah.
Eight lives around both Mennonite and Amish. Mennonite is what you said, Denise. Amish are not that. Aren't there in Illinois, like the southern part, there's those Amish towns. Have you ever been there, Denise? To those
No, I
Amish
haven't.
places in Illinois?
No.
It's really cool. And there's Mennonites there too. It's kind of a
Yeah,
mix.
they're mixed often together. Yeah.
So I wonder if
I
she's
mean,
talking
there's
about a
Amish people
similar
around
area.
here. Yeah, I don't know.
There's Amish in Pennsylvania. My brother lives
Oh,
in
yeah.
the
Yeah,
county over
there's a
there.
lot of them there. Yeah.
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 He's not Amish.
No, I'm sure.
No.
So shared doctrine versus evolving interpretation.
Hmm.
The next kind of difference would be in religion, ritual is more of an obligation. Sort of like you have to do mass or you have to do the communion, all that kind of stuff. Spirituality, yes, you can use ritual, but it's more to
Shift
as a
consciousness.
consciousness exercise.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yep,
So,
that's true.
Okay, she said
That's a big
something else.
difference.
Mixed but not together. She's from Lancaster. Okay.
Oh,
Yep.
so you know,
Oh, okay.
I know a lot of people. Yeah, in that bit. That makes sense. Yeah.
He's in Sellersville.
Mm.
Well, she'll probably. All right. So the fifth point: moral formation through communal versus formation through authenticity. So do your morals come from what the community or the religion says morality is, versus your intuition, what seems correct?
Right.
And basically the test is if I do harm, how do I repair and make amends would be the community ethic, and how do I stay true to myself or stay on the path would be this a spiritual way of looking at. I think these two sort of mesh.
Yeah, they
But-
do. I think so. Yeah.
But it falls into this thing about interpretation and laws. Because
Right.
a church could say it is immoral for a man and a woman to live together and not be married. I mean, that was a huge thing.
Right.
Somebody else might say, no, that's not immoral.
No,
you
it's
know?
not. I mean, look, yeah. I mean, I think about the difference between like a culture that's based on spirituality versus religion are the indigenous cultures, which are based on spiritual principles, spiritual ideas, shamanism, shamanic connection to source. And then you have, and so in those cultures, people did what they needed to do, whatever they wanted to do, basically. If you want to live, okay, they used to have sort of a lot of indigenous cultures their marriage consists of, okay, let's get married. Yeah, you're being an asshole. Okay, I just put your stuff out of my, dwelling and goodbye. You're done.
Yeah,
It's very much more like fluid,
exactly.
and whatever works for people. And there's acceptance of people who are gay, who are trans, who are, and everybody has
or
a place.
even psychic for that matter.
And psychic
know?
and shamanic. Yes, there's all those things are incorporated and woven together because there's an openness to that. Whereas in religious doctrine, there's control. Everything's about control and
Well,
rules.
you know why?
Following someone else's rules. And if you
Marriage
don't
is
follow
so-
them, you're bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when marriage is so closely tied up with rules and control, it's all about
Yes.
the inheritance of property.
Yeah, and
Right.
check.
That's
You
why
really-
it was started anyway. It was about inheritance. It was
Yeah, right.
property
So
rights.
I mean, because you can't give your children your property if you don't have a woman to own who's going to make your babies for you. It's really about.
Well,
it's
you have
patriarchal.
to know who got her pregnant.
Exactly.
That's
You
where
got to own
all
her,
the rules come from, yeah.
and then you have the babies, and then you get to then you can control the line. You know what I mean? But you can't do that in a society that's open-ended, like an indigenous culture. But in an indigenous culture where they live in smaller groups, you don't have to really, the people know one
Right.
another, and there's not really that issue about like having to get your woman owner like a cow and then
Yeah, it's like a small Irish town.
I guess.
One of the hollers in Appalachia.
Yeah, maybe.
But and that's where these religions start clashing too, because I
Right.
mean, look at all these hardcore fundies. They act like Mormons are like some of the worst people on the
Or
planet.
demons, right?
Yeah,
Right.
they're
No,
demons
They're
because
wonderful.
Oh, I know.
because they have their own book and whatever. So if
Right.
you listen to this, it's like, oh, they should all be killed. And
Right.
I don't hear LDS people talk that way at
No.
all towards other
uh,
faiths. Maybe in your neck, but
Yes.
here I don't really hear that. But again, it's your group or whatever. That's what religion is, and it tends to be very judgmental for those.
It does,
against
yeah, because
any
you've got your rule
entity
book,
that
and anybody who's not in your control system of going by your rules is bad.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
When I first
agree.
moved here, it's very important people identify you by religious belief immediately, right? And so I met this group of people, parents of my children's friends, and the question came up, what do you practice? And I said, well, I was raised Catholic, but I don't believe any of that stuff anymore. And they said, oh, Catholics, well, they're not Christian.
some of those
Right.
hate the Catholic Church.
It's
What do
so
they call it? The
It's so dumb.
what
so
is
dumb.
the term they use? There's a
Papist.
right.
It's not
There's
only- it's
something they
so
call it. It's some
ignorant.
like a
So-
Jezebel kind of. There's some
Oh.
term that I've heard in some of the real
Whore?
hardcore.
Yeah, like a
About-
whore. Like they
Yeah.
call the church whore.
Yeah,
Whore of
the whore of
Babylon?
Babylon, I think,
Whore
is
of
what they
Babylon.
call it. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh man, when I had that show on Blog Talk, I would get like these really hardcore religious people on just because it was interesting.
But it's very ironic that they
Woo!
think that the Catholics aren't Christian because they literally invented.
Started
The whole thing.
It's our
I
fault.
know.
They literally invented it.
And we worship false idols because of saints and statues and stuff.
Right.
I have the hardest time explaining to people these are good people
Not
who
gods.
represent
Not
something
gods.
you want to emulate their behavior. You're not worshiping.
Yeah, right. But you pray to them, so it does have a
Well,
big.
isn't even the thing about the idols? Aren't there different 10 Commandments? I thought there's like one set, and in the Catholic version,
There
the
is a
idols
different
aren't
set of
in
10
there.
Commandments. Yeah, but
Yeah.
they're not, it's more about wording and order. It's the content is
Oh,
the essential
okay.
thing. Yeah.
Okay.
I was watching Young Sheldon the other night, and what the hell? Damn it! Why did it just run out of my brains?
The mom.
Yeah, the mom says, Catholic, you worship the Pope.
Oh wow.
What the fuck?
Ignorant.
Oh my God.
Joyce
hilarious.
says some of the Gnostic books are very interesting. I agree,
Yeah, they are.
Joy.
Yes.
Yeah, they
You
are.
know,
I've
and
read
Tiffany
it.
had brought up, that she enjoys reading and learning about all these different religions, and
Yeah.
I do too. I mean, I don't really do that anymore in my life, but
Yeah.
for a time it was very important to me,
Yeah, same.
to do that, and it was very insightful. Okay, so she knows that place in Helen. So
Yeah, isn't that funny? Small world.
yep. Okay, so point number 6. Oops, my slide thing didn't work right here. Anyway, salvation is a defined path versus growth as an open-ended journey. And I think those of us that take more of a spiritual path, it's like, it's a journey. We don't know exactly how, what salvation, let alone what salvation is.
Why do you need to be saved? Saved from what?
Yeah, right.
And religion's just, it's basically a roadmap. You have to do this, you have to, act in this certain way. And my point with some of this, that none of this is better than the other? Because, like you were saying, Denise, or was it you, Helen? Some people, they don't have that natural instinctive moral compass.
With
So
me.
having that roadmap helps for them.
Well, for somebody like that, having a religion probably is important. You know, if you don't have an interior, if you're somebody who, but the ironic thing about that to me is that um, people that gravitate towards religions, where most people that really get into religion, I find are kind of broken a little bit like that. Like they don't have that internal moral compass. But I don't really think it helps them. It just gives them a cudgel to be angry at someone who's not like them and judge other people. So it doesn't really work that. Maybe it works within their little context, so they don't go and steal from people and do terrible things to some degree. But
Well, here's
gives
my
them license
experience
to be
in
angry at
general.
other people who don't fit into their.
I know
Right.
HBH was raised Mormon.
she was raised a Mormon, but not all the same.
Not all experiences are the same. Right on, girl.
That's
Here's
true.
the problem, though. They all want you to join their club. They all spend all of their energy trying to get you to convert to their
The
club.
Jews, not the Jews. They don't do that.
True, because you have to be born into it, and then really
You have
does not. Yeah,
You or convert, go through a very lengthy conversion process.
Boy.
but it's complicated, right? But I know for a fact from personal experience, family married into the Mormon religion, and they have dedicated the entire time that they've known me, so we're going on 50 years now, trying to convert me, and better yet, trying to get the details to identify my dead Irish relatives so they can convert them too. They want to baptize them.
Oh, you're talking about the Mormons. Yeah, that made a lot of Jew. I mean, I don't have a problem. I feel like the Mormons are doing it because the Mormons believe that you have to be in there. They have these levels of heaven and stuff like that, and they want everyone to go to heaven and whatever. I don't think it's malicious. I mean, I know a lot of people who went through the Holocaust, though. A lot of the Mormons baptized them post, their death.
Yes.
Assuming whatever. And a lot of people got mad about that.
Yeah.
Because they felt like, well, we died for our religion. Don't convert us to yours,
Right. Right.
But I think that was their way of trying to do some kind of spiritual healing. I don't think that they were, I feel like that is something that, if you really believe that you have these levels of heaven and you're going to try to get people into the better one. I mean, doesn't matter really, ultimately, you know what I mean? The person doesn't really convert. It's just some kind of ritual around them.
I think
I
the
find
Jewish
it
thing in the
really
lawsuit,
arrogant.
they just didn't want them listed as Mormons like in books and stuff for
Yeah,
history.
right. No,
'Cause they didn't want
I
their history. That was kind of the gist
yeah,
of the
I don't blame
lawsuit,
them.
think.
I don't blame
Yeah.
them. No, that is true. And the reason we have so much information on genealogy is because the Mormons do that.
That's
And
right.
so
yeah.
there's a positive side to it. You know?
Right, but I find it presumptuous that they've spent 50 years trying to convert my dead relatives.
Well, oh sure, yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. It makes people
Unbelievable.
upset. It makes people upset. But
Yeah,
if you just think about it, I mean, this is kind of condescending, maybe, but if you think about it as their little fairy tale that they live in, that they have to do this to make people in a good place, they're not really converting your family. They're just like doing a little dance around it, to make themselves feel like they're helping people.
here's the problem. My relatives will come back and haunt me. If I let that happen, they're going to come back and haunt me. I want
She's
no
the
part of
weak
it.
link.
It's always my fault, Bo. Always. Oh, I didn't part of it.
Let me read a couple comments that have come
Yeah.
in. Joyce says, the first time I walked into a Catholic church, I was so filled with love when I saw the Mother Mary statue. She was beautiful, and I just loved her. I was so happy when I learned about the goddess.
Yeah,
That's
right.
true. The Catholic does.
Yes.
Yes.
And that is a big thing that the everything post, like Martin Luther started the Reformation. They pulled her out of Christianity
Yeah.
because she was so associated with, she's the virgin, and there's this whole virgin
Yeah.
goddess thing. And the reality is, though, she is a remnant of the goddess. And in fact, I think she's an important figure I think if you're going to be Christian, being Catholic is the best version of it because it has some representation of the feminine, you know, not much, but a little bit of feminine kind of energy in it. And I mean, the Virgin Mary, she's the one who shows up to people all the time.
Yeah.
She's the one who's the cry, the statue cries and everything. She's the one who's sort of the guardian of the human race. It seems like, Jesus is great, but he's not. You don't see statues of Jesus bleeding from his eyes and shit. You see that's Mary, man. Yeah, Mary is the one who weeps for the children. You know what I mean? For the people of Earth. I think she's pretty cool.
HBH says they do genealogy and they do give your ancestors a choice when they do this.
How
I do
they
think that's
that?
part it's in the ceremony where they give a choice, my understanding of it, but I'm not LDS, so I don't know, but
Right.
from what I've seen or read, because they go into this place in this meditation to do that, and they give the ancestor a choice.
I mean, I don't think it's bad. I mean, personally, I feel like it's just kind of like a prayer for the people who passed, and that's their way of kind of like honoring people. That's how I see it. I don't get offended by it, but I could see where other people who are, might get offended by it.
Tiffany, first time I walked into a church, I threw up. Realized later, due to being seriously empathetic, church like hospice, court, any highly emotional environment affects me physically.
Honey.
Wow,
she's really
Was that
empathic.
an old church? During the pandemic of 1919, they used churches as hospitals, and they've used churches as, during the Civil War, as hospitals for dying soldiers. So that's not beyond the realm of possibility.
Yeah, maybe.
Well,
maybe
the energy, though, is so intense in them, too. You have weddings, you have funerals, you have, like my friend, Gary's, former partner who's dead now that didn't go to the Seven Mountains thing with us. She was so sensitive. I mean, we went to a few funerals together, and she said, we always have to sit in the back because she goes, the energy in here makes me pass out. I can't handle it. So she doesn't throw up, she passes out. But that was a great comment. They give them choice. They believe in free will. That's what I had heard too, HBH. So thank you for clarifying the baptism for the dead.
Okay, I understand that but you're in a meditative state and you're talking to the dead person. Then it's you who's deciding whether they give, which, because if that was true, they wouldn't have done that to all the Holocaust victims, and the families wouldn't have been so mad and upset. So, I don't think they were intending to do anything bad. I feel like the intentions were good, but, so that may be theoretically true, but I don't know that that's.
I don't know. I think it's like going to dinner with somebody in a nice restaurant, and they sit down and start eating with their fingers. They're not intending to do anything wrong, but it's rude.
Okay. All right. It's a literal. What is that?
Not a literal baptism using a name.
Oh.
I think she meant
using a name.
I don't know. She can.
I don't know anything about it. I just know that some people get offended by it. I personally think, whatever. I don't have a problem with it.
Keith isn't here tonight. He was raised LDS. He would be able to spit forth a ton of information.
Yeah.
I personally
religion comes with accountability mechanisms. You have to do whatever to remain in the church, otherwise you're kicked out, and some of them disfellowship. Spirituality, more autonomy. But the problem with that is that sometimes you get these people that become gurus or whatever, and there's no organization to deal with it.
And there's nobody no accountability. But that's true in religion too, because power structures protect people that are really bad.
Exactly.
It's a different kind of problem. Same issue, but different problem.
So the spiritual but not religious tends to be kind of the people who want the autonomy, but they still want a sense of community. And so you'll meet them at different gatherings or, like you said, your psychic group, or even here in a way.
Right.
So you still find a sense of community.
Right. Exactly.
So, this is kind of a good point. Religions are more of an inheritance. You inherit this, it's your identity. Oh, I'm a
Yeah.
Catholic. Oh, I'm LDS,
Right.
or,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
Whereas spirituality uses bricolage, which is basically it's sort of like what you were talking about, both pulling everything in and then
Right.
finding what is your
I've
truth
never
out
heard
of
that
that.
word.
Yeah, Sam, that's an interesting word.
I'm looking it up.
It's kind of used more in the spiritual
French.
sense about you just pull a whole bunch together and create something out of that. The
Creation
the
of work.
problem the problem with it is what's good is that you're recognizing other cultures. What's bad about that is sometimes it can seem disrespectful. A big point about like yoga. You see true
Cultural
practitioners of
appropriation.
yoga are just like they've appropriated our culture
Yeah, right,
and
right. No, that's
basically
true. Cultural
bastardized it.
appropriation. Yeah, right.
Kind
And
of
that
like
is true.
sweat lodges too. It's like the
Yeah,
same
right.
thing. All these people
Totally,
that
totally.
claim to have like native wisdom and all of that
Yeah,
kind of
right.
thing.
Yeah. Cultural appropriation. Yeah.
Oh, this is so funny. I looked the word bricolage up and it is French. It comes from the verb bricoler, to tinker or to putter around. And the noun is bricole, which is a trifle or a task or a 14th century catapult.
See, it's everything. Just pull what
Yeah.
you need out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was just trying to clarify. I
No, I
put
get
the
it.
HB.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have
I'm
it.
I'm not personally offended, but I know I can see why some people
Yeah,
might.
I don't worry about it.
So, the other difference between religion and spirituality, religion gives the world story. They teach the world story. And there's not a lot of room, whereas spirituality, it's kind of like, well, okay, I've had this experience, I've had this one, I'll read this,
Right.
but there's no cemented world story, like the book of Genesis, for
Right.
instance.
Right.
So, that seems obvious to me. The last point, religions are institutions that organize education, charity, family life, identity, art, law, and politics. It can be
Mm-hmm.
good, and it's also, I
Can
think,
be
can be
bad.
very bad. And that's the
Yeah.
direction we're heading with some of this.
Yes.
Spirituality tends to focus on integration, healing, wholeness, psychological growth, purpose.
Connection.
But
Yeah.
sometimes it, like you said, can turn religion like itself.
Yeah.
So,
Totally.
Yeah.
Hmm.
so my final point here was spirituality is good at inner transformation
Right.
and self-reflection. Religion is good at durability and institutionalizing. Both can fail. And
Yeah.
my big points to discuss now are fear and power.
Right.
So, anyway,
I
anything
think a
else to
lot of
add on
it.
the difference?
Yeah. Well, I think that is a big difference between religion and spirituality. Is that religion thrives on fear and power, and
Yes.
spirituality is the opposite of that. It thrives on connection to source, finding your unique and authentic self and voice, growing as a human being, trying to be a better person, walking a path, seeing the trajectory of a long arc of your soul being something eternal, and knowing that you're always going to be evolving and that you're ultimately hopefully going to become enlightened at some point. I mean, in some way, whatever that, it doesn't have to be literal enlightenment like in the Eastern philosophical way, but that you're going to reach some kind of acme of your best self. But in religion, it's really, while there's those promises, they're really kind of rules and control and fear. If you don't follow these things, then you're going to end up being punished. And if you do these things, then you're going to end up getting a reward. And so it's fear based. And that's why, to me, I personally think evil is fear. Fear and evil are interconnected.
Yeah.
I
Control
agree.
and fear and evil are all the same. So at the root of control is evil. It's like the devil card in the tarot. Thank you. That's kind of like, when you think about that card, the devil card, is all about fear, control, and people buying into that, right? But that's the structure that a lot of these, I mean, I don't think, that really all organized religions, because they are hierarchical and they're systematic, and they, put these constraints on people. And if you're in it, then you're what, and you're out, then you're bad, all those things. It's fear based. And that's not the path. I mean, you can find a
And
path in that. Like you can take the truths, like, you could be a spiritual person within a religious context
exactly,
and
exactly.
find those things within it and kind of work it, kind of ignore some of that other stuff, which I've seen people do.
Yep.
And that's fine. But that's, and that can work. But then you have to ask yourself, well, why are you constraining yourself to the system? Because it's often used as a cudgel against other people to oppress them. You know
Or
what I
against
mean?
you.
Yeah. So there's that too. There's that sort of like being in that system
It's
seems
that
like it's,
inheritance identity kind of thing. I think part of
yes,
it is
yeah,
where you live, might
yes,
be a part
yeah,
of that.
true.
Um, um,
I don't know, Deborah.
but
I think you should add one more thing to your list: the differences between religion and spirituality. It kind of is a Venn diagram with some of the other points you made, but in my opinion, this is purely how I feel about it. Religion to me is a group experience, and spirituality is an individual journey. And the more your spirituality
Right.
becomes to include group, the more it's of a religion. And I have seen people,
good
not
point.
you, Denise, I've seen people trying to guide groups, and
Yeah.
not by their doing, but by the people drawn to the group of spiritual work, they become,
No, I
you know,
know. And that
Yeah.
happened to me early on. And I stayed away from teaching for a long time because of that.
yeah.
And I think as I matured, I realized how you can subvert that.
Mhm.
You have to learn to subvert that with people. You
Seems
never,
to be a need people have of being
people want to
led.
do that.
Yeah.
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 And you kind of have to be, well, what do you think? This is my opinion, but how do you see this?
Right.
You always
Right.
have to throw it back on them. You can't let people do that because they will do that because that's how we're entrained. We grow up, we have parents who tell us what to do. The system tells us what to do. We're told not to think for ourselves or feel for ourselves or don't trust your intuition. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to yourself. And you have to train people out of that. You know what I
And
mean?
that's the big damage I think is a big part with religion.
I agree.
Exactly what you're saying is that there has to be like this intermediary to
Right.
speak
Right.
that will bring the messages from God. I mean, even that Jesus is the intermediary to God.
Right.
That I mean, even
Right.
that. And
Yeah.
so
No, you're
there's
right.
always like this intermediary. And so then you see that also in some of these other spiritual groups as well, not just
Yes.
Christianity. It's like you always have to have somebody else in the middle. Why not just go direct?
That's
If
exactly
God is
right.
omnipotent,
Exactly
why
right.
can't, it
100%.
just, and
Everybody has the same connection. Nobody's
Well,
is
you
better
need to be
than else.
looking
yeah.
in here, not out
Right.
there to some
Exactly.
Right.
random dude who's got a pinky ring and he's making a lot of money. I just
Right.
Yeah.
don't understand that.
Well, that's the
I
whole thing.
don't
Like,
either.
if you see Buddha in the road, kill him. Run him over. Because anybody who claims to have, more connection to source than you do is a liar. Basically, and it's a false. And it's a
Well,
false.
as soon as you think you got it figured out, your ego's talking and you don't have anything
Oh,
figured out.
That's right.
absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
absolutely right. 100%.
And
100%.
that's a big problem with patriarchy, in my view, is that you're
Yes.
supposed to, like,
100%.
the man is the one that's able to communicate with God, and then the
Right.
woman has to get the instructions through her man, And so
Right.
that's why they hate things like psychics and all that, because it tends to be women,
Right.
not
Right.
all,
We're
but a
connected to
big piece
source.
of it that tend
Mostly
to
women.
tune into it, yeah,
Yeah.
or at least
Yeah.
speak it out loud. So
Yeah.
I think
True.
there's a connection with the patriarchy and this
No
intermediary
shit.
thing.
I'm the first to admit it. I have no idea what's going on 99% of the time.
Well, it's interesting that, in Tibetan Buddhism, supposedly the Dalai Lama has said, I know this from somebody who's, I've met through doing the readings, and it's become a friend of mine. She was saying that, he has said multiple times, it's easier for women to become enlightened than it is for men. It's harder.
Of course.
But they still do that in Tibetan Buddhism. They still have the male hierarchy, even though they know that women are more connected than the men are. Because
I've always said, show me the religion where the women are in charge of the money. I might think about it.
Well, you'd have to go back to the
some
ancient
of the Native, some of the Native American have
and the
been
Native
like that.
American cultures. They were until they got Christianized against their will.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of them have been Christian. So I don't know if you guys want my list or not, because we've gone over our hour. I did put together some highlights of church-state legislation based on 2025
I'd love to
and
see
where
it.
it's at.
Yeah, same.
Okay, so I'll pull it up, and I printed one out just in case, because it's a PDF, so I don't know how legible it is.
Right. Oh, that's pretty good.
Oh, okay. So I'll just run through them real fast. So I just kind of went by month and period. One of the things you're seeing is that they're bringing school chaplains into the schools. The first one to do that was South Carolina, and that's basically to get rid of social workers and psychologists and then have the chaplain take over that type of thing.
That is bullshit.
Maybe one of the Murdaghs is free on parole and can go do that. The Murdaghs, the family, the crime family.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Now these are all January. So of 2025. So one of the biggest things with Project 2025 is to get rid of Schedule F, and that's basically fire federal civil servants at will.
Right.
So it's like if they're not in the pre-approved religion or whatever, you could just fire them. Not, even though they might be a genius and the best at their job, just get rid of them.
Right. You don't care about that.
The other one in January, this one is also federal, to have a religious employer exemptions sort of thing. So basically, it allows the federal government as an employer to just discriminate against people for religious reasons, no other reason. Health and Human Services Conscience Directive, this was in January. Of course, it's got all the healthcare exemptions for like gay people, contraception, but also personal beliefs override medical obligations, faith-based refusal rights. So you think about things like, okay, so does that mean a Jehovah's Witness doctor can say, is it them or which one is it where you can't have a blood infusion? I mean, it just comes, just mayhem. Right. If you just start giving medical treatment based on your religion.
Well, 80% of the hospitals in many states are now Catholic.
Oh, they're all Catholic, privately, yes.
Yeah.
So then, Department of Education, it allows school employees to express faith in the classroom. That's a big one where they could start preaching in class. It means teachers can. There are serious establishment clause concerns about that. Establishment clause means...
Are these executive orders or are these laws?
These are just federal proposals that are floating on that they're working on right now.
Okay.
Now this one, this
2025.
is... Right. This is, now this one is legislation that's pending, just like South Carolina and Tennessee, where they authorize chaplains in public schools. And that basically is to override social workers, psychologists, that kind of stuff. It's part of a multi-state court. I don't know if you've ever heard of ALEC. It's all that kind of stuff where you see similar legislation being introduced state after state.
They create an outline and then they give it to all the states.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
What does she say here?
Oh.
Can you please attach PDF? I'll put it on the Cosmic Fold Net, which is our forum. I'll put it in there.
Not yet.
Not all have become law. Some are in the works right now. Yeah, that great big huge database you guys saw in the beginning. He does do executive orders every day.
He has no idea.
Kind of has the status, and I've got links to all of it in there.
Right.
Oklahoma, we've seen this, the biblical principles in education.
Oh
This puts
God.
Bibles in classrooms, mandatory prayer.
Well, you heard what happened in Oklahoma with the superintendent of
Yeah, they
schools
finally got,
for
after the porn
state.
was on his computer.
You're all like that, man. They're all like
Yep.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, then March 2025 Health and Human Services proposal that's going on is to add the Department of Life directive.
What the fuck does that mean?
What is that?
Wow. Look at
This
the next
will
line.
this will promote biblical marriage and families.
Wow.
Oh, there we go.
So yeah, your health and human services will all be based on biblical interpretations of family. Also in March, Montana State Bill 525, again, those are your school chaplains. You're going to see a lot of this going on in the schools. Something that I have seen month after month after month. Again, it blurs the line between licensed, trained professionals and clergy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really fucked up.
West Virginia, Senate Bill 280, that one's pending. This mandates putting In God We Trust at the schools. And again, that's one of those where it's like, well, yeah, that's fine. It's on, on our coinage and in the pledge. But like I've been saying, they start small and it's like, oh, that's
Right.
fine. But then you give them an inch, they take a mile.
Yeah, that's right.
Government compelled religious teaching? Is that what that says?
Yep.
Yes.
Religious messaging.
Yes.
Government compelled religious
Religious
messaging.
messaging.
Yep.
What the hell?
You want to?
Then
It's just like the Nazis, man. Just like the Nazis.
100%
Department of Defense Religious Liberty Review. This expands religious exemptions in the military context. And this is a problem where you've seen Military Religious Freedom Foundation. That all started, if you ever saw that movie, Constantine's Sword, where Mikey Weinstein was there. He used to be in President Reagan's, AG
Right.
office.
Yeah. This all. we can-
But he's Jewish and his son is Jewish, and they were trying in the military to compel the Jewish to participate and have to do all these mandatory Christian things. And not just like normal, like nice church stuff in your neighborhood, this really hardcore dominionist stuff.
Yeah.
And that's how Murph was born. But anyway, they want to make an exemption and just make everybody, you're in the military, you have to do all this.
Right.
So then we get to, it's overwhelming, really. And this is these are
Yes.
just little
Let me
snippets
know,
that
man.
I've pulled. You saw my database in the beginning.
Yeah,
April
that's-
2025, Georgia Religious Freedom Restoration Act. This one's pending, if the governor signs it. You can use this to shield discrimination claims. So,
Wow.
fire somebody or whatever. And it's like, well, he offended my religious belief. Fine. No right
Wow.
for you. So basically, religious rights supersede everything else under all of these.
Well, can you be Wiccan and be like, you know about making me like be Christian? I'm gonna fire you. I mean, if you had a
That's
business?
the thing. You would think there should be a two-way street, but most of these are
no.
written from a Christian dominionist point of view.
Right, but what would happen if that happened? I mean, how you go to court? I mean,
Yeah, you
the
go to
law-
court. And that's
And the
usually how they
judge,
lose
the judge
these.
would be another religious nut job, and
Maybe, maybe not. Right. It
So
would depend on the
more
judge.
into civil service kind of stuff. Department of Education block grant plan. This would give federal education funds into private religious schools. A lot of that where they teach young Earth creationism, that the
Yeah,
Earth is
bullshit.
like 5,000 years old and
Yeah,
all that kind of
lies.
nonsense.
Yeah.
Then we get
Indoctrination.
into May
This
and
is so
July.
like the Hitler Youth stuff, man. This
This
is
is why
so.
I'm reading
telling
this.
you,
People
that's
don't
what's
know
next.
about it until you
That's
just
next.
look at all of this stuff.
This is
Right.
so
Don't know
bad.
because it's like, all right, May and July. Well, this is still 2025. Missouri, again, one of these school chaplain law. That one was enacted in Missouri. Another Health and Human Services allows religious groups to receive funds without abortion referrals. Another thing I saw about that just very recently, and I need to research it. I have not at this point, but they're talking about like people that have drug issues or whatever. They want to get these religious groups into helping these people get over their addictions and homelessness and all of
That's
that.
going to be.
Well,
Oh no,
that's
they're
just
doing
forced.
in Utah. They're
Yeah.
doing that right now. Yeah.
But
They have
forced indoctrination with
Yeah.
taxpayer funds.
Right.
That's unbelievable.
And again, July, this one always shows up. Foster care waiver directive, basically faith
This is the
agencies can
full-on
deny.
Handmaid's Tale. This is the
Yeah.
full-on Handmaid's Tale shit.
And
Really?
I'm just reading you guys a portion of this stuff.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
I mean, I have been studying this for years and years.
Wow.
How is
August-
it received when you talk about it, Deborah? When you mention it to people, what's the reaction?
This is the first time I've publicly done it in a few years because I was getting so
okay.
many death threats over it before. So, but it's coming to the point. I'm just kind of like, you know what? We got to start
can't
speaking up
deny it.
about this stuff.
Yeah,
People don't
yeah,
know,
this is
and they are
insane.
in the laws, and that's my premise in the beginning thing. It starts out these, oh, well, that sounds patriotic. Oh, that's fine. That's what's wrong
Right.
with saying that. But it starts in these little ways,
Yeah,
and then they use that
right.
to keep growing and growing. Okay, so the last quarter of not quite quarter, August through December 2025, FDA review of mifepristone. This is, again, the abortion medication thing. This one might be a shocker. September, well, I think you mentioned this, Helen. Proposed Department of Labor Sabbath amendment. Overtime requirement tied specifically to Sunday codifies Judeo-Christian observance into labor law.
But not all
And you get
Christians.
into the
Not all
right.
Christians even celebrate it on Sunday. Some the Seventh Day
Some are
Adventists.
Saturday.
It's
Yeah.
going to be a law. Get
But then
used
they'll
to it.
just make it into a law that the Sabbath is
Sunday.
hey,
Sunday.
here's our friend Teresa. Hey there, Teresa.
Teresa.
Good to
Forgot
see you.
again. Oh, we must be
Oh,
getting
you
boring.
missed a good one tonight, Teresa.
More stuff, rescinding LGBTQ protections, basically removing healthcare non-discrimination rules. Proposed
Wow.
Department of Education accreditation rule shields religious colleges from conflicting accreditation standards.
Wow. Wow.
So you can
wow.
say you have a
Tennessee
doctorate in
path.
psychology, but it's based on things that have nothing to do.
With
Again, more
psychology.
abortion stuff. They want to track interstate abortion travel
This is going to
data.
be great for the country. This is a good way to just garbage the country right out and just get, make us a bunch
Here's
of idiots.
something that's really eating at me. So that's my sign that this is for real, and we need to think about it now. They do you remember Betsy DeVos?
Yes, of course.
Oh God,
Okay.
yes, yeah.
She took her Amway millions, and is she Michigan or Wisconsin? One of those
Michigan.
states.
Michigan, she's Michigan.
Set up a bunch of homes for pregnant unwed mothers, and
Right.
they were adopting out these babies.
Yeah.
for
To Epstein?
profit.
Just kidding.
Yep.
Wow.
But it wouldn't be,
As long as
I
they
wouldn't be
could really
surprised.
belong to a Christian church. So they were adopting them out for profit. And part of the concern was they would not consider LGBTQ families. And they managed to get legislation in one of those upper northern states where Catholic adoption agency could discriminate. And it went all the way to the Supreme Court. They could discriminate against one gender families, like
Yep.
two guys.
Wow.
Yeah, okay. So this is what I think is going to happen next. Call me crazy. They're going to revoke gay marriage, and then they're going to revoke
Sure.
gay parenthood. They're
Of
going
course.
to take
Yeah.
those children away, and it doesn't matter if they're
Yep.
your own biological
I
children.
believe that.
Yeah.
I think you're
Yep.
right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I pray
I
you're
agree.
wrong.
They're going to go
And then
after
just
that.
as we roll
all of it.
into this year, Idaho has a proposed public school Bible reading act. This would mandate daily Bible reading in public school.
Oh,
And
God.
Texas, of course, has its Ten Commandments Display Act. They want the Ten Commandments posted in every classroom. And does
Which
that bring...
Ten Commandments?
Yeah, exactly. Whoops, wrong thing. I'm trying to remove. There we go. That's
the
just
other
a
thing that-
taste. So would you guys be interested in seeing my big database put online that you can search for
Yes.
whatever?
Yes.
And it links to It links to so in it it's way more detailed than this. It'll give you a synopsis of
Right.
what the legislation is, and then give you a link so that you can
That'd be
read
great.
the
You should, yeah, put
legislation.
it up
So
on
it'll
my
take
post.
it.
I'll put it up on my Substack too, if that's
Yeah,
okay.
I
Yeah.
would put it in my
Yeah.
channel because this is exactly what I need, Deborah. Talk about this stuff all the time. People tell me I'm crazy.
Yeah, but
Yep.
you have proof.
But
now.
it's
Yeah.
Remember, yeah,
and
this
that's where I go with this stuff. I mean, being the Virgo that I am, I'm very methodical about
Thank God
these
for the
things,
Virgo.
and it's like
Yes.
I need to document it or see it for
Right.
myself.
Right.
And
Well,
once
that's
you
good.
do that, then you realize how overwhelming this stuff
It
truly
is. It
is.
really is. Yes. You know, the thing I've been thinking about a lot lately. Okay, well, we know that they're incarcerating and putting people in whatever, but they've been. I had that dream in 2021, I think, right after Biden came into power, that I was in this warehouse kind of place, and they were, killing people who were liberal and different and stuff like that. And it was either that or, so you're either in this sort of concentration killing camp or you're going to go to jail, kind of. That was the options. And, they've been buying up warehouses specifically
Everywhere. Yes.
to put people in.
Yes.
And so what we don't seem to understand, I think, is that the whole thing with the immigrants, and this is something I think people really should realize, is that if we don't stop this now, it's going to continue to go. It's going to be, kids who are on the spectrum. It's going to be gay people. It's going to be people who are registered Democrats. It's going to be people that are whatever doesn't fit their little thing that they want to, what they're not going along with the rules of being, Christian and all this stuff. That
I
is
subscribe to the wrong Substack.
Yeah, right. Or you post stuff online that they don't like. I mean, seriously, this is where it's going. It's full on Nazi stuff. It's coming.
It's already happened. I
is.
told you Stefan Schwartz's friend, who's a doctor, who went to the medical conference,
Yeah,
old
that's
guy, right? On the way back, they confiscated his phone for no reason. He was just traveling, right? And
Right.
they saw that he had a cartoon against Trump, and he spent 3 days in a cell.
That's
Yep.
what I'm saying.
Well,
This
now
is
they're using all this facial recognition software all over the place. And, as far as these big data center warehouses, this is my tinfoil hat. But I honestly, because we're seeing the AI bubble about to crash, just go down soon.
Oh, what does that mean?
But they're
when people
still-
say that.
Basically, they have been self-funding all along. And you've got all these investors dumping money in. But it's just a bunch of crap is what it is. And they're just circulating money. It's like the real estate bubble, all that other stuff. It's going to crash because it's not producing anything worth
Oh,
anything.
so you're talking like in a business money sense.
Right.
All this
But-
time when I
but-
heard that phrase, I thought that computers were going to break or something.
No, I'm talking
no.
business-wise. But
Yeah.
yet they're still building all these huge data centers all over the place. And I personally think that what those are for is for all of this surveillance. They're big
Yeah,
data
that's-
centers
yeah.
for the surveillance, not necessarily what you're going to be using AI for your computer.
No,
or
it's for
chat
Palantir.
or-
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
what
so
I think it is.
Surveil the people. It's just a bullshit excuse, probably. Yeah, that makes sense.
We have a couple
For
more
all the good it
comments.
does, look at how much help all that stuff's been finding Savannah Guthrie's mother.
Yeah, they do need
Yeah.
to put this.
So, one thing, Joy, in New Mexico, they just banned them.
they
which
did.
is pretty good. Yep. They banned
good.
that crap
Good.
shit over there.
Well, that's good. I mean,
Oh
last week
boy,
they-
Denise, they bought all these warehouses near me last week. I read about that. They're in Pennsylvania buying up tons of property. They are breaking into houses at night now outside of
Oh my
Philly in the
God,
suburban
what?
areas.
What the fuck? That's really terrifying.
Oh,
Why
they've got
they-
one in Surprise, Arizona by Phoenix. We can't
Really?
let
It's too
them
late.
get a hold here.
Utah's doing a pilot program building a gigantic concentration camp, not what they're calling it. It's intended to round up the homeless because they're making that illegal to be homeless. If you can't prove you're paying rent, you go into these things. And they're tiered. It's like a hierarchical concentration camp. There's the special place for people with mental health problems. And then there's the place for the just ordinary homeless, and they will be put to work.
Work camp. Yeah.
And this is a government funded project that the governor of Utah said, thank you very much. We'd be happy to do it. And if it's successful, it's going nationwide. That's what they're buying up the
Well,
warehouses
and
for.
this stuff like they wrap it in religious, like good religious language, like, oh, we're taking care of these people, we're helping them, we're getting them, you know what I mean? And that's where people are blinded to what's actually going on until it's there, because it's
Right.
put
Until it's
in all
happened.
of this nice moral language, and this is where it's so important to remain spiritual, to do things like what you're doing, Denise, with the meditations, all of that. Find that inner thing, because this is showing how religion has just gone off the rails with this. We
Yeah.
need to have more and more control. I don't believe religion started off bad like that, but it's
I
just,
do.
yeah, some,
I do too.
some of them
I
I
think
don't
it
think
did start
so.
up. No, pretty
It's
much
a
all organized
patriarchal
religions,
control.
all organized religions start out bad. I mean, the Roman Catholic Church, look at the history of
Yeah,
the
that's
Roman
true.
Catholic Church. They
I'm thinking more in
murdered
terms
so
of
many
like
people.
I look at like the Indians, the Jews,
Yeah,
Well,
all
but
no,
of
those are
that
not
is, although
religions.
the
those aren't
Jews
religious.
became patriarchal. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Jews started out by killing all the
Yeah.
goddess worshippers,
Yeah.
and the Catholics of the Catholic Church was horrible. They tortured people, murdered them, the burning
St. Patrick
times.
was a
I mean,
complete jerk. The snakes, that's symbolic of the goddess religion.
yeah,
That's what he drove out of Ireland.
yeah, right. Yeah, he
Yeah.
broke the Celtic
Yeah.
people. Yeah. Oh,
3:30
okay, that's good.
Central.
Well, if we keep
Oh,
having this
I'll have to do that.
conversation, Teresa, I'm going to be so riled up by 3:30 tomorrow. I'm not going to be able to talk to anybody.
Oh man, that's horrible.
BS about disabled. My neighbors are making my daughter and me Amish clothes. If that shit starts, my daughter's disabled. I will go hella crazy if that.
Oh man.
I know a lot of people. I think are going to start going crazy as this
Oh
starts to
yeah.
happen.
Even if they've applied for asylum, yeah, they're just well, just showing up at the courthouses and all that stuff when people are there for their appointments and just hauling them off when they're
They're there to
complying with
take
the
their
law.
final oath.
Yes.
They don't care. This is the thing people don't seem to get is it's not about the immigrants. It's about trying to just
Fear.
control everybody. And they're starting with the immigrants because they think it's the easiest people to pick off.
Low
Like
hanging fruit.
what happened
Yeah.
in Hitler's Germany.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, and you
Instead of
have
the
a
Jews, it's the Mexicans.
you
Yeah.
have a
It'll be
president
the
who-
aged and the disabled and the sick, the chronically ill next, because that's what they did in Germany. They sent letters around to the doctors, give us a list of all your patients who fit these categories. You're deaf, you're blind, you have cerebral palsy, you're Down syndrome, you're 95 and you're senile. You send us that list. And then they offered to the families of all these patients, here's a lovely 6-week vacation in the country at a resort hotel. We'll send the bus. It's all free. The government's going to take care of you.
And they
They
killed them all.
collected these family members,
And
and
killed
about
them.
3 weeks later, they got a postcard. So sorry, your loved one died of pneumonia. They were experimenting on them. I'm not making this up.
No, I know.
I believe you.
No, I
They were
know.
experimenting on them to refine the technique for the death camps.
Yeah, that's the kind of
Oh, if you were going to say something.
Yeah, what were you gonna say, both? Yeah.
I
Sorry,
don't
Randy.
remember.
Oh,
It was
okay.
about. We got what's his name, number 47, spewing forth oceans of lies of the quality of the immigrants and the quantity of
Yes.
the immigrants
Yes,
and the
totally.
integrity of these
Mhm.
people. We've seen 2 people murdered on camera.
Right.
It's beyond tragic. It's heart-wrenching,
It
and
is.
it's getting a little more. Oh, I can't
Right.
think of the word. It's got to stop.
Yeah.
Something has to stop this. And I
Right.
don't know the answer. I don't know
Well,
where
there's
to
only one
go.
answer, and it's not a good one.
Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah. I wish I
personally,
personally could do more.
Yeah, I understand.
I think that our greatest strength is that number one, staying spiritually aligned and grounded in that.
Right.
And maybe not number two, but maybe equal to number one is community.
Yeah.
And know thy neighbor, start working out a plan.
Yeah. Right.
Because a lot of this stuff, it's so, this is the thing. I don't follow sports. I don't even know who played the Super Bowl. I'm sorry,
I don't
people,
either.
if I found
Yeah.
that, if you find that offensive, but I just don't.
I
It's not
don't
my
know
thing.
either. I don't care about it at all.
I
Yeah.
don't know who these actors are. I don't know all
Yeah.
this. I mean, it's just not my wheelhouse.
Right.
But this is how these things happen because we're all, paying attention
Focus
to
on-
that kind of stuff
Right.
and
Right.
not
Distractions.
what is really happening these days.
No, you're right. People are getting distracted.
Bread and circuses, just
Yep.
without the bread these days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Right.
never thought I would see this in my lifetime. This is unreal what's happening in this day and age. I truly.
I
I
knew it. I
could
knew it was
see
gonna
it, but I
happen.
didn't really understand exactly how they would get there. Like when I was on this thing about the 7 mountains and all the other stuff, it was like, okay, I know their plan, but how are they going to do it? That was,
Right.
especially going
Right.
to that, and it was just so crazy.
Right.
Such a, so I was sort of like, my thing was more like, oh, dictatorial government sort of stuff, not, more that, not believing that there could be such a strong influence from these
Yeah.
religious groups.
As
Because
soon
it
as-
seems so
infiltrated.
wacky to me.
Yeah. They've been. I'd say
They
as soon as Reagan
infiltrated
became
every
president.
aspect. Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as Reagan became president, I was like, it's on. They're going to go for theocracy. He was the first, he sold it to people, I think, and people started going along with these little things. Oh,
Yeah.
what's wrong with praying in school? There's nothing wrong with that. Money, money, money. That's so good. Greed is good. Distract you with garbage crap, like shiny
Yeah.
things, and try to control you with, this. And the extreme right was really all the religious, the evangelicals. I mean, that book I wrote was
Yeah.
exactly this. Like I wrote
Yeah.
it like at the end of the 90s. It was like
Yep.
I had already thought about that since the 80s.
Yeah.
Like it's
Yep.
it's
Actually,
clear.
you start at home. You start with your children, and you start with your extended
I
family
have
and your
nervous
neighbors.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you do what you can in your perimeter, because there's too much. You're right. It's just too much.
It's
You
too
can't
much,
do
yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
You
can't-
do
You
what
can't
you can, and you
overwhelm
do that
yourself
well.
with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I am worried they will start taking people in a country years. I agree. I'm thinking about securing property. Yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, I agree with you, Tiffany. I think I've had visions of people getting into my house, and I think,
You're
these-
right,
I mean,
Indigo.
besides being horrible and inhuman, these policies are hurting the economy. True. Yeah.
It is.
Well, I have the good fortune of being old. It's kind of a race to the finish line, and we've only got a few hundred yards to go, me or the democracy. And I just feel like,
I'm sure the democracy will collapse before you do.
oh, thank you.
It's already pretty much gone.
Even if
Yeah.
this were 15 years ago, I'd still kind of feel like, well, what the hell? I just give up. But
Yeah.
I'm at this point where there's what am I going to do? I can't do anything physical,
Right. No,
Right.
same. I mean, I'm almost 60.
You're
and-
not moving to Canada.
Right. Yeah.
And hear
I mean-
me every
I would.
morning. I've been doing my strength training and all
Right,
this stuff. I'm just so crazy. Although I think exercise for me is a good stress release. So
Yeah, right. You're a Virgo.
that's
Yeah.
You're
it's good for-
building your upper body strength, so when they toss you,
It
into the
is.
snow,
It's like
you
rock
brace
hard
yourself.
here.
Yeah.
But it is. It's very for me, working out, sweating, all that. It takes a lot of stress off. Trees 65 here. Yeah, we're about the same. Trees. I will be
Raise your
65
hand.
in September.
If you were raised to believe that you should respect your elders, and when your time comes and you're older, you will receive respect in return. Raise your hands if you're pissed about that.
Oh yeah.
Because
Hell
I'm not
yeah.
getting anything here as far as
Oh,
respect.
I don't. I remember even when I was growing up that people were assholes. So old people, like they treated them like. That's how my mom was. So she was horrible to her mother. But I just always felt like people were like, oh, they're just throw them in the garbage. Who cares what the old person over there says? I always thought that was very sad. I used to volunteer at a nursing home when I was like in 8th grade, and go and talk to the old people. I really liked talking. They had all these cool stories, but they were just like people. The nurse would be like, and it would be like they can hear you. You're screaming at them like they're deaf and treating them like they're children. It was. I thought it was awful. I don't think there has been respect for the elderly probably since the 1930s or something like that. You know what I mean?
Well, I was raised that way, and I think the people around me were raised that way, but that might have been a little bit cultural. I don't know. But
yeah, people are.
Who was it? Was it Ashley that was talking about not registering?
That's nice.
Wow, Crystal Blue.
I think that's very wise.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I agree with
yeah,
you.
not registering them. Crystal Blue had 2 sets of great grandparents who lived until she was in high school.
That's
Well,
pretty
we're
cool.
never getting rid of her.
This is
It'll get to be 200.
Not that it would come back. Yeah, people should. But look at what just happened with that woman, Savannah Guthrie's mom. I mean, that woman was basically like an invalid, and somebody just took advantage of that situation. They knew she wasn't going to be able to do anything. That's the world we live in.
Yeah.
I mean, where people like they see somebody like they're like wolves. They see a weak lamb and they go in for the kill.
They wait.
That's where we live in.
They literally
Right on,
wait.
Indigo.
No, that's true. Not all elders do deserve respect. Some of them
You
are.
implying
that's
something.
true.
That is true. She's not wrong about that. She's not wrong about that. Yeah.
Well, this was turned into quite the show here, my friend.
Yeah. It's a good discussion.
Really good.
I knew it would.
And people in the chat, thank you for such excellent comments and
Yes.
commentary.
yeah.
This is really, really good. What do
Please
y'all
come
want to talk
back.
about?
I think it's good.
Yeah, please
Yeah.
do, because
Yeah.
we're just kind of a quiet little channel here out in the ethers where we can talk about weird stuff. So
Well, a couple of you are.
And go add your
the channel is we don't pay for
forum.
subscribers, Helen. We don't pay for views. We're just our lone little corner of the internet.
Well, if
Right.
you see that the drone view of her house.
Thank you,
was
Ashley.
Really it was a community. There were people all around. It looked like a big gigantic house, and
Wow.
for most of us it would be, but it was like all the other houses in the community.
Yeah.
There were it was a development, I guess is the word.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Crystal Blue, my parents in rural Tennessee wouldn't hire anyone to come in and repair anything because they were afraid they'd end up getting robbed.
I understand that. No,
I
I mean,
understand that completely.
yeah, I
Yeah.
understand.
That's my
You get
biggest
better
fear in
with
life is
age,
ending
just
up
more
on
of whatever
Dateline.
you are.
That is true. But unless you're somebody who's working on yourself your whole life, then you do get better. With it.
Yes.
Yeah. Sosno.
Glad I caught the
Glenn.
live. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, let's change that quiet group. I hear ya. And then we've got Indigo. I always enjoy your company. Cheers me up in these scary times. Well,
Thanks.
all of you, I just appreciate, love you guys so much. Thank you for coming on tonight and helping with the
Thanks,
show.
Deborah.
We'd
Our
miss
little
it.
gathering.
Yes.
I
Huh?
love you make this
Deborah, you
possible
work
for
so
us.
hard.
I know you do.
Really
I know.
guilty.
I know.
I'm
Right.
very
I
driven
offered to
about
help
this
you, but I
stuff.
couldn't do it.
That's good.
The thing is, this, like the list that you see my data, I've been collecting this stuff for years and years, very quietly, just knowing.
Right.
And it's our time now that we've got to start sharing.
Yes. Yes.
You know,
It's the
I
time.
agree.
And even on a more mundane level, a friend of mine and I, so I think it's the 22nd, we're going to film I'm going to make my solar oven, and then I bought a couple cheap store-bought, and we'll show, how you could cook when the power's out, do all
Oh,
that
that's
kind of
good.
stuff.
That's good.
I'm going to
Good.
start putting that kind of stuff together because
Good.
I really
People need that.
feel that a lot of this stuff needs to be known.
Yeah, I
And,
agree. Totally.
Can I recommend a book?
Sure.
The Separation of Church
Oh
and
yeah,
State.
I've read that. Yeah.
Oh,
John
yeah.
Peterson.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
really, really funny, and it's scathing. And then since I've recommended one book, let me recommend this one.
Such a-
John Wayne.
All right.
Where the hell
None
are
of, that,
you
none of that
finding?
boring hippie Jesus. This is Jesus with abs and K17 or whatever.
Wow.
I'm going to watch Young
yes,
Sheldon.
Community. Thank you. Thank you. Good book, Helen. Yes, she.
Me too.
All right, y'all. So, have a wonderful evening. We shall
Yes,
talk
yes.
soon.
Love. Yeah, we'll see you
And
next week.
thanks again.
Thank you,
Thanks,
ladies. Much
everybody. We'll be
love.
back
Thank you.
Wednesday.
Okay, love
Bye.
you. You guys, have a good one.
Thanks so much for joining us. We love hearing your stories, so tell your friends so they can join the party. For show notes and our forum of high strangeness, visit cosmicfold.com. Remember, Cosmic Fold airs live on Wednesday and Saturday nights, so be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell to know when we're on air. Thanks again and have a great evening.